morning, students. We'll be starting with our chapter 4, that is file system of unit 2. Before that, would be informing you that today I'll be taking two lectures, that is yesterday's pending lecture and today's lecture, and I'll give you separate attendance for the same. You have to fill it. As well as any of your prior assignments are remaining, please upload it on your Google Forms, whichever provided, so that I can do the checking and marks filling. As well as after this chapter, 4 chapters, I will be going through the doubts and question answering system, which I'll be telling you in detail afterwards. So after the end of this chapter, we'll look into a summary of all the 2 units, so that it could be easy for you to learn the chapters or to go through the chapters. So we'll be starting with our chapter 4, that is file systems. Now, and short introduction, that is, what is a file? A file is a source in which you can store the data, you can access the data from it, you can modify the data from that file, you can cut, copy, paste the data, as well as storing n number of infinite data is possible on your file depending on the memory which you are accessing. So for that, now when we talk about file, what is file systems? So essential requirements for long-term information storage. So when you want to store any data for a longer period of time, it's like not only 1 month, 2 months, it's for years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever duration it is. If you want to store that long-term data, you can go with the file system access. It must be possible to store very large amount of information. That file should be able to store the data, and that should be in a very large amount. Information must survive termination of process using it. So information must be there that any of the process accessing it can access and leave that file there only. So that should also be possible. Means if I want to access that file, I will access that file, and after my process is complete, let that file be there only. It should not get terminated from there, that it should not get deleted from there. Multiple processes must be able to access information concurrently. So one file should be able to access by n number of people at a time, that is concurrently. Concurrently means at that particular time. So this is called as file system. So when we talk about file system, so there are two sequences or two operations on file. So think of a disk as a linear sequence of fixed size blocks and supporting two operations. Now file systems support two operations. First one is the read block K, and second one is the write block K. Now K is just a variable which is given. There is nothing to deal with K. Only operations are read and write. So read is for when you open the file, you double click on that file. Once you open that file, you are going through the data, you are reading the data, that is just a read operation. Write means I am double clicking the file, I am opening that file. After opening that file, I am doing some changes into that file, then I am clicking on save, and after that save, this is called as write operation, that is the change which I have done. So you understood the two difference, that is read means only going through the data, that is opening the file and accessing the data. Write means accessing the data as well as making the necessary changes into it is write operation. So your file has two basic operations, read operation and write operation, that is read block and write block in the file system. So the next is file system questions that quickly arise. Now there are certain questions which will quickly arise in the mind, that how do you find information? So how can I find information into it? So the data which is being stored is one time, or it has a certain address space. Address space means, suppose if I tell my file is located in C drive in my this name folder, and in that folder I have two files from which my file name is this. So naming that file can be one location through which I can find the information of the file. Then how do you keep one user from reading another user's data? So certain security of this read and write operation is in such a way that if one person is reading the data, another cannot open the same and do the changes. So there are certain operations and security given on that file so that concurrently people are accessing, but at a time read and write both operations cannot be done concurrently. So that is one possibility. How do you know which blocks are free? So which blocks are free is further process which I'll be explaining you. So which blocks are free? Obviously my files are stored, and how should I know that which system blocks are free for file allocation? So here I have file naming. So if you have seen it priorly or not, I do not know how many of you all know that how files are named, but making you a certain specification that file naming, whatever name you give to your file, the extension what you give to your file is its actual verification which we can do. The naming of the file is not important. The extension what you give is the specification or originality of that file. Means what? Again I'm telling you, when I create a Microsoft Word file, so while saving the file I give a name that yes, FYIT operating system. But this name is just not enough. I have the computer system is none of the concern that what name you are giving, but dot doc, if it is giving dot doc, that means my file is of format Microsoft Word and it should be saved under the specified path of what my user is giving me. So your verification and you can say originality is being checked by the extension of the file. So the naming, what you say, the actual catching of that name is done by the extension. So we have n number of extensions here and we will see what is the meaning of those extensions. So when I want to do a backup file, first I have extension that is .bak. BAK is for backup file. .c is for C source programming. You have C programming in your syllabus. So to save those files, we have extension .c. If it is C++, we have .cpp. Okay, just an extra information. .gif, that is graphical interchange format. Nowadays you have GIF images in your mobile phones, so these are saved by extension .gif. HLP is for help file. When you are in some problem in the system, you can go for help. Then .html. Now HTML is hypertext markup language. Again a web designing function which can be saved with .html. Next is .jpg, joint picture export group. MP3 is for your normal audios. MPG is for movie encoded with yes, it's like audio plus video. Then next is .o, object files in your compiler, that is your programming code. Then .pdf is for your portable document format file. Then next is .pst, PostScript file in your operating system. .tex is for text formatting program. TXT is for general text file. Input text for your system to take the input. Here .txt is your normal notepad file. So there is a difference between TEX and TXT. .zip file to compress all together and change the size but not the data loss, that is called as .zip file. So these are the extension for file naming which are being done. So how is your file structure? So can you all see there are three types, 1, 2 and the next one is 3. So how can that be done? So there are three types of kinds of file. The first one is byte sequence, second one is a record sequence, and third one is a tree. So when I say byte sequence, my each and every byte, each and every file will be shown. In record sequence, I will have a bunch of byte files in one record. Then next bunch in record 2. Next bunch in record 3. Likewise, these are given. The third one is tree format. Tree format is like this, hierarchy. Means ant file has cat, cow, dog. Pig has goat, lion, owl. Again, lion has hen, ibis, lamb. So this is the hierarchy which is being set, and they are shown in a tree diagram format like a flow chart, that is called as tree sequence. So there are three types of file structure. First one is byte sequence, second one is a record sequence, and third one is a tree sequence diagram, which we can say as a flow chart or a hierarchy level tree. So files can be structured in any several ways. So if you want, you can structure it in the way or format you want, because it totally depends on the user how it wants to store. That is not dependent on the system. Person will open the file folder, he will save two files there, he will open another folder, he will save files there. So the tree or structure what is decided is by the user, not by the system. So three common possibilities are depicted in figure 4.2. so these are the three possible, what you say, possibilities. So here the file is in figure 4.2a is an unstructured sequence of bytes. So here random generation of files is done in first one, that is unstructured, you can see it's not a structural format. Next is, in effect, the operating system does not know or care what is in the file. So system is not actually concerned with what is inside the file, what data is inside the file. All it sees are bytes. Only it will see the storage amount which the file acquires. Means suppose it is 30 MB. So the operating system is only concerned with that 30 MB. It is not concerned with what data is inside there of that 30 MB. Okay. So any meaning must be imposed by user level programs. Both Unix and Windows use this approach. So both Unix operating system and Windows operating system both use this approach, that that is not a concern with the content of the file, it is just concerned with the storage or the bytes of data what are there. For users who want to do unusual things, the later can be very important. In this model, a file sequence of fixed length records, each with some internal structure. Central to the idea of a file being sequence of records is that the read operation returns one record and write operation overwrites or appends one record. So yes, obviously now the second one which is there will give you a structural format, that arrangement of proper bytes will be stored in each and every record, and in record sequence you will get, for appending, one read operation will give you same record, and overwriting, that is write operation, will give you the changes and make the changes and overwrite on the same record itself. It will not change its originality or place. The next is third kind of file structure, which is the 4.2c structure. In this organization, a file consists of a tree of records. So it has a tree of records, like you have a branch, then you have leaves to that branch, then those branch will have, the branches will have the stems will have leaves, and leaves will have again fruits. Likewise, a hierarchy is being set, and for that hierarchy, it is not necessary each and every hierarchy level which is set is of same length, each containing a key field in the fixed position in the record. The tree is sorted on the key field to allow rapid searching of a particular key. So the basic operation here is not to get the next record, although that is also possible, but to get the record with specific key. For the zoo file of figure 4.2c, one could ask system to get record whose key is pony, for example, without worrying about its exact position in the file. Yes, exactly. Now when they are telling the example, what they are saying is, it is not actually concerned with the sequence. Now each and every tree structure here, hierarchy, is given a key for the identification, and for that identification to be done, what can be done is, it is not concerned with what item is there inside it. It is only concerned with the key for identification. They will say that the word pony or the hierarchy pony has so and so number of key, please identify it. So they can identify it depending on that. So this type of file is clearly quite different from unstructured byte stream. So rather than unstructured stream, it is a very structural format, and which is used in again Unix and Windows operating system, and also used in some of the mainframe computers for personal commercial data processing. Nowadays it is also used in personal mainframe computers, that is large mainframe computers for commercial on a high level e-commerce level data processing. So what are the file types? So file types are two types, an executable file and an archive file. Archive is to save, it's not archive, it's archive. So magic number, you have a allocation of your file, and then you have archive file, what is concerned in that. So we'll check. The first one is the magic number, the file number which you want to, which is automatically generated for that file. Text size, that is 30 MB, 40 MB, 1 GB, 2 GB, like that. Data size into it is again calculated. Then BSS size, then you have symbol table size. Symbol table size is, what is symbol table size? Can anybody tell me? Symbolically means you can use different symbols, you use different types of formattings to it, which is also possible. Then entry point, at what time it entered, in what address space it is. Then you have flag, that is arrangement, and all these things are calculated in one thing, that is header. Then you have text, normal text, data, reallocation bits, and the symbol table. So if you go with these things, first thing which comes is automatic recompilation of modified source file. Then you have although this file is just a sequence of bytes without a proper formatting option, cannot execute this file. So the file is divided into 5 segments: the header, text, reallocation bits, data, and symbol table. So in that header you have magic number, the sizes of different sections of file shown, the various section sizes, that is address of its at which its execution starts, and the flag bits present, as well as the header. Now header has module name, in which module it is created, the date of its creation, the owner who has created the user, protection means it has read write operation, execute operation or not, and the size of the whole file for access. So here we will stop, and we will continue in the next lecture. Thank you.